200 hours, East China Sea, 2 miles off the coast of a fortified island. The ocean is a slab of black obsidian under a moonless sky. Cold rain hisses against the rolling swells, masking the horizon in a gray curtain of mist. The rhythmic heave of the sea is the only sound in the vast emptiness. Suddenly, the water churns white. A massive steel leviathan breaches the surface. Water cascades off the hull of the attack submarine as it locks into a semi-surfaced buoyancy. The main hatch spins and pops open with a metallic clank that gets swallowed by the wind. Figures emerge from the depths. They are clad in black wetsuits and heavy tactical vests. They move with the synchronized precision of machines. Deck crew swarm out, hauling the heavy-rolled bundles of inflatable raiding craft. They deploy the rubber boats onto the wet steel casing of the sub. Air tanks hiss as the boats inflate rapidly, taking shape in seconds. The SEALs slide the craft into the freezing water. They toss heavy gear bags into the floorboards and vault over the rubber gunnels. The team leader raises a gloved fist. The outboard motors cough once, then settle into a low, muffled hum. The submarine crew waves once and disappears back down the hatch. The sub slips beneath the waves, leaving the 6 men alone in the dark water. The pilot twists the throttle. The raiding craft surges forward. The bow lifts and smashes into the chop, spraying salt water over the hunched figures. They keep their heads low. The wind bites at exposed skin. Rain pellets sting like gravel. 2 miles of hostile water separate them from the target. The pilot steers the boat into the trough of the waves to hide their profile. The engine noise is lost in the sound of the crashing surf. Ahead, the island manifests as a jagged black silhouette against the gray sky. A massive searchlight beam sweeps the low clouds above the cliffs. The beam cuts through the rain, illuminating the whitecaps a mile to their left. The pilot adjusts course, steering hard to the right to stay in the shadow of a rocky promontory. They close the distance. The roar of waves breaking on rocks grows louder. The team leader signals to cut the engine. The motor dies. Silence rushes back in, replaced by the heavy pounding of the surf. The men grab paddles. They dig the blades into the black water, pulling with powerful strokes. The current fights them, dragging the boat toward sharp rocks. They muscle the craft through the break zone. A wave crests behind them, lifting the stern high. They ride the surge in. The boat crunches onto the rocky shingle of the beach. The men are out instantly. Boots splash into thigh-deep water. They grab the carrying handles on the side of the boat. They heave the heavy craft up the steep bank, boots slipping on the wet stones. They drag it past the tide line and into the dense tree line. They deflate the boat and cover it with a camouflage net and palm fronds. The team forms a tight circle in the brush. They do a final gear check. Bolts rack back on assault rifles. Suppressors are tightened. Green phosphor glows as night vision goggles flip down over their eyes. The world turns into a grainy, vibrant green. Lasers activate, invisible to the naked eye but cutting bright beams through the night vision lenses. The team leader checks his wrist GPS. He points a gloved finger toward the dense jungle wall. The point man nods and steps into the foliage. 15 hours, jungle edge, north perimeter of the compound. The air under the canopy is stagnant and heavy with humidity. Rain drips from the broad palm leaves, sounding like fingers drumming on a table. Through the single-tube night vision goggles, the world is a claustrophobic tunnel of glowing green phosphor. The SEALs move in a single-file column. Boots press carefully into the soft mud, rolling heel to toe to avoid snapping twigs. Vines snag on radio antennas and equipment vests. The jungle smells of rotting vegetation and wet earth. The point man halts abruptly. He raises a clenched fist. The column freezes instantly. 50 meters ahead, the dense foliage ends. A 12-foot chain-link fence topped with coils of razor wire cuts a straight line through the brush. A tall guard tower looms to the left, its searchlight sweeping the beach, but the immediate area is covered by 2 ground sentries. They stand under the overhang of a small supply shack to escape the rain. One soldier leans his rifle against the wall and lights a cigarette. The flame flares bright white in the night vision, momentarily washing out the image. Smoke drifts lazily into the wet air. They are relaxed. The team leader squeezes the shoulder of the point man. It is the signal. The point man and the number 2 operator holster their assault rifles. They draw pistols equipped with long cylindrical suppressors. They creep forward, lowering their center of gravity. They close the distance to 15 meters. The rain masks the sound of their footsteps. The sentries turn to face each other, laughing at a joke. The SEALs rise from the tall grass. They extend their arms. The laser dots dance on the chests of the targets. The pistols cough. Foot! The lead sentry jerks backward violently. 2 rounds strike his center mass. The impact slams him against the shack wall. He slides down, leaving a dark smear on the wood. The second sentry eyes widen. He reaches for his weapon. The point man fires again. The round strikes the sentry in the neck. Blood sprays out in a fine mist, looking like black oil under the green light. He collapses into the mud, clutching his throat. The SEALs rush forward. They grab the soldiers before they hit the ground fully, dampening the sound of the fall. They drag the limp bodies into the shadows of the tree line. The breacher moves to the fence. He pulls heavy bolt cutters from his back panel. The jaws clamp onto the thick steel mesh. Metal shears with a dull snap. He works quickly, cutting a vertical slit from the ground up to waist height. He pauses, scanning the fence post for tripwires or pressure sensors. He traces a wire to a small box and bypasses it. He signals clear. He pulls the wire mesh back to create a hole. One by one, the team slips through the jagged opening. They fan out on the other side, weapons raised. They are inside the wire. The massive concrete bulk of the command headquarters sits 300 meters away across the open courtyard. 2:20 hours, main courtyard. The ground changes from soft mud to hard paved concrete. Puddles reflect the sweeping beams of the guard towers like black mirrors. The team stays low, moving in a crouch behind a row of parked cargo trucks. Rain hammers against the metal hoods of the vehicles, creating a deafening white noise. The command building looms ahead, a fortress of gray concrete with few windows. The team moves gap to gap, checking corners. The searchlight beam swings toward them. The team leader signals, "Freeze." The 6 men press flat against the wet tires of a transport truck. The light passes inches from their boots, illuminating the falling rain in a bright cone. It moves on. The squad exhales and prepares to move. A low growl rumbles from the darkness near a loading dock. A German shepherd lunges against a chain. It barks. The sound is sharp, loud, and unmistakable. A metal door bangs open near the dog. 3 enemy soldiers step out, weapons slung low. They shout into the dark. One unclips a flashlight and shines it directly at the truck. The beam catches the reflective tape on a SEAL's helmet. The guard screams. He raises his assault rifle. "Contact front," the team leader yells. The silence shatters. The enemy soldier fires blindly. Crack, crack, crack. Bullets spark off the concrete and ping against the truck wheels. The SEALs return fire instantly. They step out from behind the cover of the tires. Their suppressed rifles make a rhythmic chug-chug-chug sound. Red laser dots dance on the wet uniforms of the patrol. Operator 3 double taps the lead guard. The rounds punch through his chest rig. He spins and drops to the pavement. The other 2 guards scramble for cover behind a steel dumpster. They fire wildly over the rim. Tracer rounds zip through the air, glowing angry red. The squad automatic weapon gunner steps wide. He unleashes a long burst. Brrrt! The heavy rounds chew up the corner of the dumpster. Sparks fly in a shower of molten metal. The enemy fire stops. "Frag out!" Operator 4 shouts. He pulls the pin on a grenade and hurls it. The small steel sphere arcs through the rain and clatters behind the dumpster. Boom! The explosion lifts the heavy steel container. Shrapnel sprays the brick wall behind it. The guards scream once, then go silent. Smoke billows out, mixing with the rain. The dog snaps its chain and sprints across the pavement, teeth bared. The point man tracks it. He fires twice. The dog yelps and tumbles mid-stride, sliding across the wet asphalt. High above, a siren begins to wind up. The wail echoes across the entire island. Floodlights snap on around the perimeter. The element of surprise is gone. "Move, move, move!" The team leader waves his arm forward. They break cover and sprint across the open ground toward the main doors. 25 hours, side entrance, command headquarters. The wail of the siren is deafening at this range. Red strobe lights pulse against the wet concrete, turning the rain into falling blood. The team huddles tight against the wall of the alcove. Bullets from the perimeter guard towers snap overhead, chipping away chunks of the masonry facade. Dust falls on their shoulders. The heavy steel door is reinforced, lacking a handle or visible hinges. It is a solid slab of gray metal blocking the way. The breacher rushes forward. He ignores the incoming fire. He pulls a flexible linear charge from his drop pouch. He peels the adhesive backing. With a sharp slap, he sticks the explosive strip vertically along the door frame where the lock mechanism sits. He runs a second strip along the hinge side. He inserts a blasting cap into the clay-like material. He spins and retreats to the cover of a concrete pillar where the team waits. "Fire in the hole!" He screams over the siren. He squeezes the clacker. Crack boom! The overpressure hits them like a physical punch to the chest. The explosion vaporizes the doorframe. The heavy steel slab tears loose. It hurtles inward, cartwheeling into the hallway beyond with a terrifying metallic crash. A cloud of pulverized concrete dust and black smoke billows out of the hole. The smell of acrid chemical explosive fills the alcove. "Go, go, go!" The point man does not hesitate. He pulls the pin on a flashbang grenade and hurls it through the smoking gap. Bang! A blinding white flash illuminates the smoke from within. A high-pitched ringing noise pierces the air. The team flows into the breach. Boots crunch on the debris. The hallway inside is choked with gray dust. Visibility is near zero. Through the night vision, the dust particles look like a swirling green blizzard. The point man hugs the left wall. The second man takes the right. Their lasers cut through the haze, searching for targets. A stunned enemy soldier stumbles out of a side office, clutching his ears. He is disoriented by the blast. He raises a pistol shakily. The point man fires. Thump, thump. The rounds strike the soldier in the chest. He drops without a sound. "Hallway clear," the point man yells. The team leader pushes into the corridor. He taps the shoulder of the breacher. "Set security rear. Watch that door." The breacher nods and turns back toward the hole, weapon raised to cover their backs. The rest of the team stacks up on the next corner. The building is awake. Shouts and bootsteps echo from the floors above. 0228 hours, ground floor corridor, command headquarters. The air is thick with concrete dust and the bitter scent of cordite. Red emergency strobe lights spin on the ceiling, creating a strobing, disorienting effect against the green glow of the night vision goggles. The hallway stretches 50 meters ahead, lined with closed wooden doors. The sounds of shouting and racking weapon bolts echo from behind the thin walls. The team moves in a tight rolling T formation. Weapons stay high, lasers sweep the door handles. A door 10 meters on the right kicks open. A shirtless soldier stumbles out, struggling to pull the charging handle on his assault rifle. The number 2 operator reacts instantly. He fires 2 rounds while moving. The bullets punch through the soldier's sternum. The enemy falls backward into the room, his weapon clattering to the tile floor. Suddenly, 3 doors on the left side burst open simultaneously. It is an ambush. "Left side, contact left!" The hallway erupts into chaos. Muzzle flashes bloom like lightning in the confined space. The unsuppressed enemy rifles roar, the sound amplified by the concrete walls to painful levels. Bullets chew up the drywall, filling the air with white gypsum powder. The point man drops to a knee. He fires a steady rhythm. Pop, 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 pop. One attacker takes a round to the face and collapses immediately. Another sprays automatic fire down the center of the hall. Rounds snap past the seals, sparking off the metal door frames. A frantic enemy soldier charges the number 3 operator. He screams, swinging his rifle like a club. The distance is too close to shoot without risking a teammate. The operator sidesteps the swing. He slams the muzzle of his rifle into the attacker's jaw with a sickening crack. The soldier reels back, spitting blood. The operator transitions to his pistol. He fires once into the enemy's chest at point-blank range. The soldier crumples. The heavy gunner steps into the center of the hall. He raises the squad automatic weapon. He unleashes a torrent of fire. Brass casings pour from the ejection port, chiming like bells as they hit the floor. The heavy rounds rip through the wooden doors and the thin walls, shredding everything behind them. The enemy fire ceases. "Reloading!" the gunner shouts. He drops to one knee, ripping the empty box magazine from the weapon. He slams a fresh box into the feed tray. The team leader scans the carnage. Bodies lie sprawled across the linoleum. Blood pools dark and glossy under the strobes. The hallway is silent except for the groans of the wounded and the distant alarm. He points to the end of the corridor where a heavy fire door marks the stairwell. "Clear forward. Press to the stairs. Move." U-232 hours. Central stairwell, ground floor base. The stairwell is a vertical concrete throat acting as a massive echo chamber. Red emergency lights bathe the peeling paint in a bloody, monochromatic hue. The air is cooler here, smelling of damp concrete and old grease. The team stacks up tight against the wall at the bottom of the flight. Above them, the stairs wrap around a central gap, spiraling up to the command deck. The only sound is the heavy breathing of the operators and the distant drip of water from a broken pipe. The point man leans out slowly. He cants his head, looking up through the gap in the railings. On the second floor landing, a makeshift barricade of overturned desks and sandbags blocks the path. A black barrel rests on the edge. A helmet pop up behind it. "Contact up!" the point man screams. He yanks his head back. The landing explodes with noise. A heavy machine gun hammers the position. Thud, thud, thud. The caliber is massive. Rounds smash into the concrete steps, blowing out fist-sized chunks of masonry. Stone shrapnel sprays the team like buckshot. Sparks shower down from the steel railings as bullets shear through the metal. The noise is deafening, a physical pressure wave that rattles teeth. The team presses flat against the wall, pinned down by the relentless volume of fire. "Frag! Use the frag!" the team leader yells into the ear of the number 2 operator. Number 2 nods. He unclips a spherical fragmentation grenade from his belt. He yanks the pin. He cooks it for 1 second, counting silently. He steps out, exposing only his arm. He hooks the grenade upward in a high arc. It sails over the railing. It clatters onto the landing above. Frag out! Crump! The explosion shakes the foundation. A shockwave of dust blows down the stairwell. The machine gun stops firing instantly. A scream echoes from above, followed by the sound of moaning. Push, push, push! The team surges forward. They sprint up the concrete steps, ignoring the debris. Boots pound hard on the stone. They round the corner to the landing. The machine gunner lies draped over his weapon, his back shredded by shrapnel. A second soldier stumbles near the wall, clutching a bleeding face. The point man puts 2 rounds into the standing soldier. The enemy drops. The number 2 operator kicks the heavy machine gun away from the dead gunner, ensuring it cannot be used again. He sweeps the corridor leading off the landing. Landing clear! The team leader checks the faces of his men. They are covered in gray dust, eyes wide and scanning. He points a gloved finger at the double doors at the end of the hall. Target building is next. Stack up. 0238 hours. Entrance to main operations room. The heavy oak double doors vibrate with the chaos inside. The muffled sound of glass shattering and heavy objects striking the floor leaks through the wood. The team stacks on the left side of the frame. The team leader squeezes the shoulder of the breacher. The breacher steps forward. He raises a compact shotgun. He jams the muzzle into the top hinge. Boom! He pumps the action. Boom! The wood splinters into jagged shards. He delivers a powerful front kick near the lock. The doors fly open, banging hard against the inner walls. The team floods the room. The operations center is a cavernous space bathed in the cool blue glow of massive wall-mounted screens. Digital maps of the Pacific pulse with tracking icons. The air smells of ozone, burning paper, and sweat. 5 enemy officers in olive uniforms scramble frantically around a central map table. They are shoving documents into burn bags. One officer smashes a rifle butt repeatedly into a bank of hard drives. Down! Get down! The point man roars. The senior officer ignores the command. He draws a pistol from a hip holster. He raises it toward the door. The point man fires first. Thump, thump. The rounds strike the officer in the chest. He flies backward over a swivel chair, his pistol skittering across the linoleum. 2 other officers dive behind a row of server racks. They pop up, firing blindly with small handguns. Bullets spark off the metal door frame near the SEALs' heads. A monitor on the wall explodes in a shower of sparks and glass. The number 2 and 3 operators peel off. They move down the flanks of the room, using the desks for cover. They fire on the move. Their shots are precise. The enemy officers jerk violently as rounds impact their shoulders. They slump against the server towers, sliding down to the carpet. The officer destroying the hard drives screams. He raises a heavy fire axe for another swing at the main server tower. Stop him! The number 4 operator sprints forward. He tackles the officer from the side. They crash into a console table. Monitors topple and shatter. The officer struggles, clawing at the SEAL's face mask. The operator drives a knee into the officer's ribs. He delivers a short, savage strike with the muzzle of his rifle to the man's temple. The officer goes limp. Room clear, secure! The intel specialist rushes to the main console. He shoves the unconscious officer aside. He pulls a ruggedized drive from his vest and jams it into the terminal. He types furiously. A progress bar appears on the main screen. It moves agonizingly slow. Downloading now, he shouts. I need 3 minutes. We don't have 3 minutes, the team leader growls, turning back to the open doors. Set a perimeter, something is coming. 2:45 hours main hallway, outside the operations room. The digital progress bar on the central monitor crawls to 40%. Inside the room, the silence is heavy, broken only by the hum of cooling fans and the wet rasp of the operator's breathing. Outside the shattered double doors, the corridor is a tunnel of shadows. But the floor is vibrating. A low rhythmic thumping grows louder. It is not the sound of a patrol. It is the synchronized stomp of a platoon-sized element. The team leader checks the Claymore mine initiator in his hand. He signals the squad gunner to mount the saw on a desk facing the door. The thumping stops just around the blind corner of the hallway. A metallic clink echoes, the sound of a safety pin hitting the floor. Frag doorway! The point man dives behind a server rack. A dark cylinder bounces into the room. It spins on the linoleum. Boom! The explosion shreds the carpet and blows out the remaining glass in the partition walls. Smoke fills the entrance instantly. Through the haze, the enemy force charges. They are not regular conscripts. They wear heavy black body armor and ballistic face shields. They move fast, firing from the hip. Contact front! Open fire! The SEALs unleash a wall of lead. The squad automatic weapon roars. Burt, burt! The heavy rounds slam into the lead attackers. Sparks fly from the ceramic chest plates. The enemies stagger back from the kinetic impact, but they do not fall. The armor holds. They regain their balance and raise their submachine guns. Bullets swarm the operations room like angry hornets. Sparks shower from the ceiling fixtures. The intel specialist ducks under the main console, shielding the downloading drive with his body. Debris rains down on his back. 50%, he screams over the noise. The team leader squeezes the clacker. Click boom. The Claymore mine planted in the doorframe detonates. 700 steel ball bearings shred the air at supersonic speed. The blast wave is horrific. The front rank of the enemy force is erased. The ballistic shields shatter. Bodies are hurled backward into the hallway like ragdolls. The walls are painted with impact marks and black soot. But more soldiers step over the dead. They pour through the smoke, relentless. A heavy machine gun opens up from the far end of the hallway. Rounds tear through the drywall of the operations room, punching holes the size of apples. A computer monitor explodes, showering the number 3 operator with glass. He grunts, checking his face for blood. The enemy fire is suppressing them completely. They are pinned in the corner of the room. The only exit is blocked by a wall of steel and fire. The team leader ejects a spent magazine. He slams a fresh one home. He checks his vest pouches. He grabs the radio handset. "We are combat ineffective. We are trapped. I need that air support now." 0245 hours, main hallway, outside the operations room. The digital progress bar on the central monitor crawls to 40%. Inside the room, the silence is heavy, broken only by the hum of cooling fans and the wet rasp of the operator's breathing. Outside the shattered double doors, the corridor is a tunnel of shadows, but the floor is vibrating. A low rhythmic thumping grows louder. It is not the sound of a patrol, it is the synchronized stomp of a platoon-sized element. The team leader checks the Claymore mine initiator in his hand. He signals the squad gunner to mount the saw on a desk facing the door. The thumping stops just around the blind corner of the hallway. A metallic clink echoes, the sound of a safety pin hitting the floor. "Frag, doorway!" The point man dives behind a server rack. A dark cylinder bounces into the room. It spins on the linoleum. Boom! The explosion shreds the carpet and blows out the remaining glass in the partition walls. Smoke fills the entrance instantly. Through the haze, the enemy force charges. They are not regular conscripts. They wear heavy black body armor and ballistic face shields. They move fast, firing from the hip. "Contact front! Open fire! The SEALs unleash a wall of lead!" The squad automatic weapon roars. Brt, brt. The heavy rounds slam into the lead attackers. Sparks fly from the ceramic chest plates. The enemies stagger back from the kinetic impact, but they do not fall. The armor holds. They regain their balance and raise their submachine guns. Bullets swarm the operations room like angry hornets. Sparks shower from the ceiling fixtures. The intel specialist ducks under the main console, shielding the downloading drive with his body. Debris rains down on his back. 50%! He screams over the noise. The team leader squeezes the clacker. Click boom. The Claymore mine planted in the doorframe detonates. 700 steel ball bearings shred the air at supersonic speed. The blast wave is horrific. The front rank of the enemy force is erased. The ballistic shields shatter. Bodies are hurled backward into the hallway like ragdolls. The walls are painted with impact marks and black soot, but more soldiers step over the dead. They pour through the smoke, relentless. A heavy machine gun opens up from the far end of the hallway. Rounds tear through the drywall of the operations room, punching holes the size of apples. A computer monitor explodes, showering the number 3 operator with glass. He grunts, checking his face for blood. The enemy fire is suppressing them completely. They are pinned in the corner of the room. The only exit is blocked by a wall of steel and fire. The team leader ejects a spent magazine. He slams a fresh one home. He checks his vest pouches. He grabs the radio handset. "We are combat ineffective. We are trapped. I need that air support now." 300 hours, exterior breach, east wall of headquarters. The jagged hole frames the stormy ocean like a broken window. Rain lashes into the room, mixing with the thick gray smoke. The drop is 20 feet to the wet jungle floor. Below, the shadows are deep and impenetrable. The team leader snaps a heavy carabiner onto a piece of twisted rebar exposed by the missile strike. He tests it with his weight. It holds. He throws the rope coil into the night. It unravels, disappearing into the darkness. "Go! Move!" The operators clip in one by one. They kick off the crumbling masonry. They slide down the black nylon lines in a controlled freefall. Gloves burn against the rope. Boots slam into the mud below with a wet, heavy thud. They unclip instantly, leaving the ropes dangling against the wall. They turn and sprint. The jungle tears at their uniforms. Vines whip their faces. They ignore the pain, crashing through the dense foliage like battering rams. Lungs burn. The sound of the ocean grows louder, overpowering the ringing in their ears. They burst through the tree line and hit the open sand of the beach. A special operations craft sits idling in the surf 50 meters out. Its engines bubble with a deep guttural growl. The boat crew spots the infrared strobes flashing on the SEALs' helmets. The coxswain guns the throttle. The engines scream. The boat surges forward, crunching onto the shingle. "Get in! Get in!" a crew chief screams, extending a hand. A spotlight snaps on from the roof of the burning headquarters behind them. A machine gun opens up. Crack, crack, crack. Tracers zip over the sand, hissing into the water near the boat. Sand geysers erupt around the running men. The boat gunner spins the minigun mounted on the bow. Bert! The sound is like canvas ripping, amplified 1,000 times. The 6 barrels blur into a solid stream of fire. A laser-like beam of red tracers lashes the roof of the building. The masonry explodes into dust. The enemy spotlight shatters. The incoming fire is silenced instantly. The SEALs wade into the waist-deep surf. They throw their heavy gear bags over the gunnels. They haul themselves up the wet rubber sides of the boat, muscles screaming. The intel specialist dives into the hull, clutching the hard drive against his chest. "All aboard! Clear!" the team leader yells, slapping the hull. The coxswain jams the throttles forward. The boat leaps out of the water. The hull slams down hard, smashing through the breaking waves. White spray soaks the exhausted men. They look back. The island is a receding black shape, illuminated only by the orange flames licking out of the shattered command center. The boat banks hard, vanishing into the mist and the safety of the open ocean.